This is Gabagool Central, where you can fulfill all of your Gabagool needs. I'm your helpful host, JR. Back again after, hold on, let me just check my notes. 7 months? Oh, hell, that's not good. Yeah, about that. You're more than likely wondering where I've been, so time to finally break the silence. As you can tell, I'm not dead. Well, physically anyway. So what gives? Why go this long without dropping a new video? The short of it, life happens. The long of it, well, there's obviously a bit there. I've got some explaining to do. I've been uploading videos to this channel for a year now, and I've had a good time doing it, but the landscape keeps changing on me. When I first started, my plan was to upload 2 videos a month, one long-ass video and one interlude. At first, it was working, then I caught the fucking plague back in December of 2021, while I was out of state no less. When I got home, it was already almost Christmas, and I was in no mood for anything. The plague kinda knocked the wind out of my sails. Once I got to working on videos again, I found I couldn't really follow the pattern I was hoping to follow, yet I tried my damnedest to do so. In mid-February, I left the job I was at around that time, and it would be some time before I would land another job. During that total of a month and a half of downtime, it gave me so much time to myself that I was able to use it to improve myself and get some proper work done on videos. It was great. Finally, I got another job and my free time was reduced, somewhat. I started working longer shifts with the benefit of getting a longer weekend. But most of the time I used for working on videos previously, I had done it before I'd start my shifts at my old job, and now I no longer had that luxury. Sure, I had a longer weekend that I could use to work on videos even a little bit. However, when the time would come, all I wanted to do was sit back and relax. I worked on projects here and there, but I really wasn't getting much done. Once I started buckling down, again, I caught the plague a second time in late June. After getting over that, there was a bunch of other personal crap that just started piling up from there, some of it being financial. It was enough to make me a miserable bastard, and I was hardly in any mood to work on videos for more than short spurts at a time, if I worked on any at all. Finally, to skip right to it, the dust has settled and things are back to a more normal pace for me. Granted, it still is going slow for me, but I'm definitely back at it. And I will definitely have the next major video out by the beginning of the year, I promise you guys that. But expect things to be slow even from here. As much as I don't want to do that, that's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. I've got some other crap on the horizon though. Because of how things worked out, shit's going to play out differently as far as future videos go. Like, there won't always be an interlude between my big videos, and those interludes aren't just going to necessarily center around me going through games on my games list anymore. Going through that list hasn't worked out the best for me anyway. I will still be making videos though, that won't change, just might take longer to get them out. They'll be just as long as ever, if not longer, but I'll still try to make them informative and entertaining as possible. Originally, I wanted to cover movies as well, but I'm not sure I can make that happen now, so for the time being, I'm gonna be sticking to games. That sucks because I've got plenty of movies I want to cover too. Hopefully I can pull that off in the future, we'll just have to see what happens. These past months, there's been quite a few projects I've scrapped not too far into starting them, a lot of them for this channel alone. I do have one project that I'm bringing to fruition, for sure, which I shall talk about now. In the beginning, I talked about how this channel was one big ol' experiment, and that remains true. I still don't know what the hell I'm doing, although I was mostly talking about how I go about doing these videos. I didn't really take into consideration doing separate projects altogether, for the channel that is. Anyway, sorry, I'm dragging this out. Here I'm announcing my new project, Radio Dream. Radio Dream is a fictional podcast centered around a radio station in a fictional city called Dream City, somewhere in the northwestern US. That's me, JR, will be playing the host, John Jacobson. And if you have watched my previous videos, I mentioned bringing on a good friend of mine, Vincent, for some videos at some point, but I couldn't make that happen then. Now though, I finally got him on board, and he plays my assistant, Vincent. Anyhow, it's set in modern day, in a somewhat fictionalized version of the US. It's mostly the same country it is now, with the exception that this America is much more militarized and much more honest about the kind of country it is, which is more of a hellscape than it already is. States are falling off the continent, the police drive tanks usually, and occasionally, cryptids pop up from sinkholes. And in the midst of it all, John reports on it. Maybe not always in the best manner, but reports on it nonetheless. For the time being, the episodes are just going to drop here on YouTube on this very channel. I'll be releasing the first episode shortly after I release the next big video. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll be broadcasting to any place where radios still exist. Soon. Well, that's about the size of it. There's still a lot of other projects outside of this channel that I'm working on as well, so it'll be a process. I really am sorry it took me this long to say something at all. Like I said, I have videos coming soon enough. I don't have much more to say, but because this is still an interlude, I may as well talk about some games for some sort of reason. I mean, in all these months of absence, I have been playing a fair amount of games at least. More recently, I've been in the mood for shit related to Evil Dead. The 3 original movies are among my all-time favorites, so of course that's going to spark my curiosity when it comes to other connected pieces of media. One of those was the Evil Dead remake, which I had never seen up until about a month ago. It was the most boring fucking thing ever. None of the characters were really that good. Half the movie was just references to the original 3 movies. The special effects were good. Any scene where somebody dies or gets mutilated or something was pretty damn cool. I mean, there's a reason why I love practical effects over CGI. There's many different reasons to it, but the point is, yeah, that was shit. I can at least say I've seen it now. But anyway, before that, I was trying to play through some of the old Evil Dead games. The primary one I started with was Evil Dead, A Fistful of Boomstick, one that I played through a PS2 emulator. It's a game I have a copy of and tried to play a while back, but stopped roughly halfway through. And this playthrough is reminding me why that is. This game is fucking hard. Before I get into that, what is this game anyway? It's a third-person hack and slash taking place some years after Army of Darkness. Our hero, Ash Williams, is feeling down, with it being the anniversary of the death of his ex, or something. While doing the sensible thing and drinking away his sorrows in a bar, a TV in the bar is showing a live program about one Professor Eldridge, a former colleague of Professor Noby, who's been dead since the first movie. By this point, that's had to have been like, what, 20 years or something? Ah, damn. He has acquired some of Noby's possessions, which includes a certain tape recorder containing a recording of Noby reading from the Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Yeah, bound in human flesh and whatnot, you know, that one. Which they decide to play this recording on television, resulting in it unleashing the dark forces upon the world, making anyone in sight a deadite. Gee, where have I seen this one before? Stop me if this sounds familiar, folks. Eldridge and the TV host, Trisha, are able to avoid the chaos, all while Ash takes it into his own hand to wield his chainsaw and double barrel once again to save the world. Anyhow, it's pretty standard crap as far as Evil Dead goes. Well, when it comes to the story and somewhat in gameplay. So on top of the chainsaw and boomstick, you also have access to a variety of weapons to choose from, ranging from a revolver to whole sticks of dynamite. Hell, even the firearms have different ammo types you can choose from at any time, which is a pretty neat addition. This is pretty much where the list of pros end. I'm sorry guys, from here on, there's going to be a lot of me bitching and moaning again. Gee, didn't you guys miss this? Going back to it, what makes this game so difficult? You see, this game loves to blue ball you at every chance it gets. For example, to save the game, you have to explore each level to find save game tokens. Yeah, you can certainly save at any point other than before and after levels, but if you don't have any save tokens, hopefully you can trudge through the level without saving until you find another one, and it only begins from there. This game also loves to limit the two types of health pickups you can acquire. The most common ones are dropped by fallen deadites, which instantly restore roughly half of a point of health, and happen to only drop on occasion. I'd say roughly about every 5 to 7 deadites they drop some sort of pickup. By that I mean they do also drop ammo, which usually isn't necessary, as ammo is the one thing that this game doesn't limit you on, of course. The other health pickup is a first aid kit that can be saved for later, but this pickup is only located in places that are kinda out of the way in these levels. But, hold up, these ones heal 2 full points of health. Yep, neither of these pickups do you much favors compared to how much damage these damn deadites do. Either way, these pickups are your lifeline throughout. Speaking of these demon pricks, they really don't feel much like proper deadites. They're more like generic zombies, but are a major pain in the ass either way. Not only are their attacks rather damaging, most levels are filled with these guys, oftentimes swarming you. And because the controls to this game are clunky as all hell, once you get stuck in a crowd of these bastards, it's hard to get yourself out without, well, dying. They're not so bad when dishing out 1 or 2 of them at a time, but more often than not, you'll be dealing with a horde. But what is this green glowing crap they all drop? To enlighten you all, it's mana that goes towards using spells from a spell book that Ash happens to have. Hey, that's cool and sounds like it'll come in handy, right? Go fuck yourself. Sure, it's useful in concept, and this book provides plenty of varying spells, which can be unlocked by finding scrolls throughout the levels. To actually cast a spell, however, you first need to hold down the button to get the book out, which proceeds to lock Ash into place for as long as you hold the button down. While you're doing that, you have to press a short button combo of the desired spell you're trying to cast, but time is of the essence. For example, using the lightning spell is useful for electrocuting whole-ass groups of deadites, but they can all rush you before you're even able to cast the spell, and eventually, you're dead. There's a spell that allows you to take control of a deadite, which is probably one of the easier spells to cast, but is practically useless for attacking others. Your attacks are slow, and if you possess the wrong deadite, you'll just be slow, period. Plus, unlike normal gameplay, you can't lock on as a deadite. Of course this game fucking kneecaps you when you are playing as a deadite. Who would have guessed? Alright, fine, what's next? Non-linear levels, you say? Shit, we've got another problem here. Most levels throw multiple objectives your way, usually having more added on as you complete some of them. And in open environments like this, you'll easily get lost looking for a certain item to pick up, or a location that just so happens to be bumfuck on the other side of the map. If that wasn't enough, deadites infinitely spawn, which means that if you previously cleared an area and left, coming back to that area a few minutes later will show that the area has been repopulated with a few more demon assholes. God damn it, this game really doesn't offer you much mercy, does it? Yeah, you can upgrade your health and mana from their own respective pickups, which is cool, except upgrading either of these don't refill these bars to max. What's this, an inventory system? Sweet, but why do I have to open up the appropriate menu, select the item I need to use, and then, just then, press use on the item when in most cases I could have just pressed use item when prompted instead of having me do all this workaround shit. Ooh. And do you know what the kicker is? It feels like this game was intentionally designed this way. As if the developers hate you and really wanted to make your life as miserable as can be when playing this game. This was no accident. This was premeditated murder right here. What did this game kill, though? My enjoyment and my sanity. However, before I wrap things up, I'm going off script here for a second. At this time in writing the script, I wasn't done with the game yet. I was roughly halfway through, but I didn't think this game would really change my mind in any other way after how fucking hard it's been to this point. Although, this game actually does in fact get easier the further you go along. And it's all because you keep getting upgraded. Like, the more your max health increases and your mana as well, along with getting a whole bunch of new weapons and ammo types, it starts to make things a lot easier mowing down these fuckers. Like, you can even replace the chainsaw in your hand with a fucking minigun. I'm not gonna lie, I did not see that coming at all, and I thought that was pretty fucking sweet. Like, the chainsaw is cool and all, but it doesn't always do the job, so why not a minigun? So the game is only hard in the beginning because you start out with what feels like nothing. But by the halfway point of the game, you have so much that it just gets easier to play. It becomes more merciful at that point. It starts to not matter that the Deadites are such bastards. You can mow them down with a fucking minigun, or a flamethrower, or an upgraded boomstick that holds like 8 rounds before you have to reload. You get so much good gear. Where was this all in the beginning? Well, anyway, the story still didn't really impress me all that much. You just keep going through Dearborn, Michigan, where this game takes place, in different periods of time. Well, that's a cool concept. It keeps reusing the same map, just decorated differently. Like, you get to go back in time to colonial times and find Dearborn when it's just being populated. And then after that, you travel forward to during the Civil War. It's a pretty neat concept, but it could have been better, honestly. The game ends with you taking down Eldridge because, well, he wants to take over the world. What a surprise! Why do you think he unleashed all the demons? He was just trying to take over the world. As if that weren't very obvious from the start. And that Trisha chick, well, she ends up becoming like some Deadite queen or something. I don't know, her boss battle was pretty boring. Very simple. Probably the simplest one in the game despite being the final boss. And then Ash ends up traveling back in time again to Japan in I don't know what year. Alright, that's enough. I'm ready to wrap this up. For the most part, a fistful of boomstick is painfully hard, or it's always possible that I just am terrible at games. I wouldn't throw out that possibility, honestly. As of now, I haven't played Hail to the King for PS1, which is just a Resident Evil clone, and I don't really like Resident Evil all that much, so I may or may not play that one at all. Point is, I'm not sure how painful that game is, but the sequel here is, indeed, pain. Until a point. I don't want to say straight up just fuck this game, because that's how I originally had it written in the script, but oh my god, that first half was too painful for me. I'm surprised I was able to trudge through this bastard of a game at all. I can see why I stopped playing it back in the day. At any rate, we still have Evil Dead Regeneration, which is its own separate game from A Fistful of Boomstick and Hail to the King. Regeneration is a million times more merciful, even if it is a little challenging at times. It plays a lot smoother, has a somewhat better story, and actually feels like a proper Evil Dead game, serving as a quasi-sequel to Evil Dead 2. I can, for the most part, get behind this one. So yeah, if you want an actual good Evil Dead game, just skip A Fistful of Boomstick. Unless you're in for some pain. God, I kind of regret making the decision to actually sit down and playing through that game, but it needed to be done. Well, that's all I got for this one. I can't emphasize this enough, but thank you for your continued patience. I can't even tell you how hard it's been. And be sure to stay tuned for not only the upcoming project Radio Dream, but the next video proper, which is a movie game, one that also happens to involve Bruce Campbell, albeit in a smaller role. Oh my, I wonder what lies ahead. Well, not really, I know exactly what lies ahead. You people don't. Until next time, of course. Bye!
The yard behind the police station was crawling with deadites. Something told me walking in with guns blazing wasn't the smart option.
Okay, everybody lie down on the ground and nobody's gonna get hurt. Oh! Oh God! No! Stop! Ah! Ah! Ah!
It certainly didn't do a whole lot for my police escort.